4 days ago and released after an outcry, not just from Kenya, but from around the region and around the world. Maria, tell us about that ordeal. What was it like? What happened? What exactly happened?
Well, it was a normal Sunday afternoon, and I had actually gone to have my hair done. It wouldn't say, but it's very tidy right now. But what happened is armed men blocked my Uber. I actually was using a ride-hailing app to call a cab, and I saw two men. Of course, later I was told there were three who jumped out of the car, but I saw two men on both sides of the door. They ran, they were masked, they were wearing baseball hats. Based on what I know in terms of, I've been reading, of course, and seeing a lot of reports, I immediately knew this was an abduction. They were shouting at the driver to open the door, and I was screaming at the driver not to open the door. They managed to open the door and they dragged me. I put up a fight because I knew if they put me in the vehicle, I'll be in utter danger. Immediately, while even I was not properly in the vehicle, they started speeding away. Within a very short time, while I was struggling and I was also putting up a fight, and they were also pushing down my head not to see what is happening, there was a jolt. We all at the back sort of fell forward. What I managed to see, because they were trying to block my view, was I saw what now I know is a city hopper. I just saw a green and yellow big bus, and it was blocking the road. They were trying to swerve, and the driver was moving the bus to block their way. I heard in the car in Kiswahili the word bunduki. I didn't see the weapon because by then they saw that my head was up and pushed me down. I was kicking at the window. I was trying to see if I could break the window, which I couldn't. Another one sat on my legs, and then we sped away. And for hours, we were driving and stopping about 5 times. I was trying to count how many times we've stopped. There was hardly communication among them. There was no radio call or anything, but it was clear the person in front was getting out, having some form of discussion or calls. I was not sure. I was blindfolded throughout. They did try immediately afterwards, when they had abducted me, to get my devices. They took my first main phone and they were demanding the PIN codes. I, of course, gave them rubbish numbers, and they sort of were getting very aggressive, and that's where they really hurt my wrists, because they were using the metal handcuffs to tighten them every time I gave them the wrong PIN. I was screaming in the end. I was asking them to give me time to calm down, to remember the PIN. They kept saying they're police. They're taking me to a police station, but I knew that was completely not true. And I was telling them that you've abducted me. That made them even more angry. They said they did not abduct me. After a while, when they picked up a lot of speed and after a few stops, I knew that I was in a vehicle that was going outside Nairobi. I could feel on the bumps that this was getting worse and worse. After a while, honestly, I was fighting, but after a while, I just knew, even if I would, let's say, manage to break free, I can't jump out of such a high-speeding car. I calmed down a bit. I did a lot of praying. I'm not ashamed to say that. I did a lot of prayers, and I was just, holding on tight. I did have questions targeted at me, asking my name. I refused to give them my name. I told them that they should know who they abducted, and I asked them, what did they tell them before they abducted me? The person sitting in front on the passenger side knew me by name and kept, calling me sometimes unexpectedly in the silence, or try to make conversations with me in Swahili, but I refused to speak Swahili for a very strategic reason. I felt that if they don't know my name, or they don't know who I am, or they've just been sent on an assignment, I need to keep confusing them. Toward a few more stops, is when I realized something was not wrong. They asked me if I have a husband, which sort of gave me an alert that, my husband may be finally out, knowing that I'm abducted and trying to push things. And also the stops became more frequent, and finally they did release me with the condition that I cannot look at them, I cannot turn around until they disappeared, and then I was supposed to just find my way home and not talk to anyone. I did feel that I was being watched, but of course, again, I was very disoriented and extremely vulnerable and scared. I think that bit was the most, the time when I didn't know whether now this is a good ending or a bad ending, but I did finally manage to get back to our apartment.
Maria, real quick, where did they dump you off, for lack of a better word? Do you remember? Do you know where?
I don't know. What I do know is it was dark, and it was outside Nairobi, but I was walking toward where most of the cars were coming from, because I imagine that's where they stay. When I got into one of the parked Ubers, and it took me quite a while because I was stopping vehicles and asking them if they're an Uber. I got in and I didn't want to speak to the driver. I was still worried that they might be trailing me, asking questions could, become a problem. So I was just trying to see after a while, when I felt a little bit more relaxed, I tried to see my environment, and I did realize I was on Gong Road. And when I asked the driver pointed out that's where Junction is, so that's the part that I came from. So I came from that area. I'm not sure what that area is, but from the angle, I was seeing the Carrefour sign and Gong.
Mm. And they were all hooded, these guys were all hooded?
They were wearing masks and baseball caps up to here. I could only see one person's eye before they put on, they tied my eyes, and they tied it very hard. And as I said, there was one who was on my left. His job was to make sure that if not hooded, they would press me down. They would sometimes cover and tell me to keep quiet, at least twice. And I felt that there was something going on. I assume it was a roadblock or some sort of inspection, because they were really adamant that I cannot move, I cannot breathe, I have to remain very quiet, which then, led me to some questions why they would do that, but I was scared that in case I do, they could harm me more.
Yeah. Irungu, this is harrowing.